Django. Django.
Episode 5, you have entered the lab. We're going to jump right into it. Myself and Ford had just finished watching. I wish we were live streaming, but we weren't. We just watching a phenomenal ending to a game of the Bills and Chiefs. What you tug away, man, because I got a lot to say about this. This is great. Legendary shit.
Man, bro, legendary shit for real. Kind of just crazy plays all over the field. Great QB play. I mean, that should have been the AFC Championship game. Like, that was a game of the season I've seen. I mean, one of the better games. Just awesome QB play. My biggest takeaway is I'm cool with first touchdown wins in the regular season, but for the playoffs, like especially in that kind of game, Josh Allen, Bills playing their ass off, especially on the road like that. Like, playoffs, you need to give that other team another chance and kind of do it how college football does it. After the first few times, it's just 2-point conversion. There's no extra points, and try and figure something out like that so we don't get robbed of, even something better that could have been. But, bro, fucking crazy ending. Chiefs scored in 13 seconds to get it.
Right. It's just crazy how quick teams score in today's NFL, whether you have no timeouts or obviously the Chiefs at the end of their game, they had 3 timeouts. So, leaving it with a minute and plus with 3 timeouts is an eternity for them. But on what you said about the so we don't get gypped and redoing the overtime rules, I liked it when they changed it, obviously, to you can't just go 30 yards and kick a field goal and win the game. At the end of the day, the Chiefs ran it down the Bills' mouths in overtime and they scored a touchdown. So you almost deserve to win at that point. But of course, we all as fans want to see the game keep going, right? We want to see triple overtime the way those two teams were driving the ball in the second half. But someone's got to win eventually. So the Chiefs just happened to get the coin toss. They got the ball and they scored with Kelsey. And what did you need? You were hype about the Kelsey catch.
Oh, I had Kelsey anytime touchdown, baby.
There you go. He got in the last possible moment of that game, that's for sure.
He did it again, man. Travis Kelsey has that clutch gene. He scored in OT. I think it was OT against the Chargers or like last play of the game or something like that, that back and forth game against the Chargers. So, yeah, I mean, I was hype about that. A little bet, $50, but a dub's a dub. I'll take it.
Hey, absolutely. I'm trying to look up some stats now, obviously, now that the game's over. So Josh Allen, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. He also ran the ball 11 times for 68 yards. Gabriel Davis.
To Gabriel Davis, yeah.
NFL record, 4 TDs, 201 yards, 8 receptions. So Bills offense was on one. They just obviously let Patrick Mahomes 3 touchdowns, no interceptions. He also ran for 69 and a touchdown. Not much running game. Clyde Edwards had 60 yards, and then Tyreek Hill had 150 for a touchdown. Kelsey obviously had the game-winning touchdown. But damn, what a game! Bills obviously they'll look back at it, defense-wise, because their offense is capable of doing whatever they need, but their defense is their backbone. And they just gave up, too much to obviously a great offense, a team that's able to, has that experience in a short amount of time in the last 3 or 4 years. But damn, what an instant classic of a game.
Yeah, I might have to just find a way to rewatch that because, dude, I mean, just the whole game. Like we were talking about when we were going to do this, and we were like 9 o'clock, and I was like, after the first quarter, I was like, I don't know, man, we might have to push the shit back till the game's over because I knew that shit was going to be back and forth. And I mean, we got exactly what we wanted. I don't know how we're gonna get a better game. It's going to be tough, but all the games this week were crazy. Pat Mahomes does things on the football field that, yeah, like they hype him up. ESPN like is always on him, but like deservedly so, because some of the throws that man was making and like just escaping out of the pocket was crazy. And you can see that Josh Allen's just on that same path. So I don't know. These are the if these teams stay together like how they are, these are the two teams in the AFC for the next 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah, we all benefit from that. Obviously, they had the game last year that the picture we posted just now before we hopped on about Diggs watching the celebration. He's gonna have to do it again, unfortunately. But that Bills team is built for the long term for sure. They got great management, great fans, great players. They'll come together and they'll have their run at one point. Obviously, we thought it was going to be this year for sure, putting it all together. I had them in our preseason predictions of them going to the Super Bowl. I think I had them as the Super Bowl champions. I also had Allen as the MVP. Not far off from either of those predictions, but as we've seen in the Green Bay game, and we'll get into that, but it's sometimes certain runs, it's hard to win in football. And you almost get appreciative when you look back at your teams as a Giants fan, looking back at the Eli runs, how almost improbable they were. You know what I mean? Like Eli Manning doesn't sniff anything close to an MVP in the regular season, doesn't, is not the fancy, nice car that you look at as a quarterback, but he
Wild
just
card
got it
team.
done. Just wild card team, road
Like
Warriors.
9-7 type shit.
Yeah, man. Never had I think they had in the entire two runs, they had one home game, and that was against, I think, the Atlanta Falcons in the first round of the second run. But after that, it was all away games at that point. So pretty wild that we're starting to see, how hard it is really. I mean, we see it every year, but especially this year with obviously 2 number 1 seeds going down in the NFC and the AFC.
Yeah, both number 1 seeds out. Like I was thinking, especially with what you just said, I think like when it comes to the NFL playoffs, you want the least amount of pressure as possible. Of course, with Green Bay number 1 seed, they were the best team all year. They got Aaron Rodgers, who's probably going to be the MVP. That all the pressure's really on them to win. San Fran and I guess Cincinnati, they don't really have. Cincinnati was just happy to be there. They won their first first playoff game on the road ever. So you kind of want that least amount of pressure as possible, just so you can kind of like focus on what you got to do. And I mean, we've been blessed, man. We were blessed with this weekend of great football and just all that shit down to the wire. Because you can get great football and it'd be a one-sided game, but all these games are just so close.
Yeah,
I don't know how it gets better, honestly.
For real. And we got 4 teams left. We started with this weekend with 8. Going into it, obviously now I'm getting more into football than I have than ever because I've been watching more of the Pat McAfee show, and all they do, 90% of what they talk about is football. And it's really got me into the playoffs and excited for it because I haven't been really locked in. Obviously, we do the podcast that gets me more locked in than ever, but knowing about the teams, knowing about a little bit more of their personnel, kind of going into it, not just watching a game, kind of knowing some key notes going in for each team, taking it back to, your Cincinnati Bengals versus the Tennessee Titans.
Cincinnati.
There you go. We had McPherson kick them into the next round. What did you see from that game that you kind of got you hyped? Because that was the first game that started off. I thought I thought Tennessee would take it, number 1 seed going into it. I thought Cincinnati would show up and be exciting, but I thought the Titans would, ground and pound and make the game slow versus what the Bengals are, like kind of high flyers and run up the score and stuff like that.
Yeah, that boy Harrington back. He wanted to show
back.
No, that game, man, just kind of really showed me who Joe Burrow is. I was never really that hype on Joe Burrow just coming out of college, but I mean, he's a real deal. He can get it done. Joe Mixon just did what he had to do, but I mean that was probably the most defensive game we saw this weekend. Tennessee's defense came to play. Cincinnati needs to get an O-line. They got to protect that. They got everything else pretty much. But I think that game was really, and it's funny saying it because he's former Dolphin, but Ryan Tannehill, man, like you get Derrick Henry back, he scores. You know the crowd is on your side. You're at home, but like he made some iffy throws there, and I don't know. You kind of need better decision making on that side. But that Cincinnati and Chiefs game, Cincinnati already beat them, but it's a playoff, so it's a different animal. But it's going to be fun to see that AFC matchup. You got Pat Mahomes, who's already established in the league, and now you got Joe Burrow coming up right behind him, and it's going to be fun to see that QB matchup. I don't know who wins that game. I had Cincinnati beating Tennessee. I didn't think Derrick Henry was, although he scored. It's tough, especially for a guy his size coming back after breaking, a bone in his foot like that. He cuts a lot. He's very agile for a bigger back. So I don't know how much he was going to affect him, but AJ Brown did his thing. So
yeah, he had a great game.
Tannehill has to do something to get them over that stop over that. I don't even know what I'm trying to say, but over that hedge and just win that football game for them.
Yeah, Tannehill had 3 picks. AJ Brown had 142 yards and a touchdown. Running game of Henry, everybody was excited. He had 20 carries, which he came into the game not having a quote-unquote pitch count. 20 carries is a good amount. I think he averages more than that. 62 yards, so he wasn't dominant. He had a touchdown in the Wildcat formation early in the game. I think it was maybe the first touchdown of the game. And then on the other side, Burrow got sacked 9 times, and people were putting out memes right away of his knee. 9 times getting hit, that offensive line. And when they won, I said, "Great, that's awesome." At the end of the day, you're just trying to win in advance. Get down, stop. Sorry. They're trying to win at the end of the day. But the fact that your man got sacked 9 times with that offensive line is not healthy. It's not good. 5 or 6 times a lot. 9
is a lot. Yeah, 9 is.
You're putting your quarterback at risk.
100%. Yeah, you don't want to see your QB get hit that many times, and that's just sacks. That's the times that they actually got to him. Like I'm sure he took probably 15 QB hits and all that other stuff. But I mean, Cincinnati got a young, talented team. All the hype is on Jamar Chase right now, but T. Higgins and Boyd, those are some players. And I mean, CJ Uzomah is good too. So, I mean, they'll figure it out, and they got a bright future. So they're going to be exciting to watch all those young players on that team.
Yeah, I know the NFL, obviously, they always say, oh, NFL wants all these major markets or these big stars. But every once in a while, you have to have those years that those unproven young teams just make a run. That's what the Warriors started off at one point. At one point, they weren't the favorites to win. They had some battles in the beginning of the Curry Thompson era and Draymond Green, and they weren't a bet to win. And now look at them. I guess you could say they're in a major market of San Fran and Oakland, but you need these young, excited teams to come up so you don't have the Tom Brady's winning every single year, right? The stat was this is the first NFC championship or something like that where Brady isn't and Rodgers aren't in it in the last 10 years or something like that. Or not NFC, but I think championship series or something like that. Which, at the end of the day, you love to see your GOATs in big games and down the stretch of playoffs, but you love to see the Bengals. They got a super young team. You don't know what's going to happen. If they make a run, it's a good story. So NFL's got to be excited about that.
Yeah, I was glad they won just because, even though they were the, lower seed and Tennessee was the number 1 seed, you want to see Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, in that championship game. You don't want to see Ryan Tannehill in that thing. So, Tennessee, I feel like they do this every year. They have a great regular season. They get in the playoffs, at least the past few years. And then they just choke. They give it up somehow, some way. So I don't know what it is. Their defense played great. They had one, Simmons was all in the backfield and Byard is nasty. So I don't know what they're going to do, but Cincinnati is lit. Cincinnati's lit.
Yeah, they're fun to watch for sure. Whether it's at the quarterback, at the running back position with Mixon, and obviously with Chase, they're a fun team, and they got a lot of wide receivers that make it interesting. But the second game, obviously, of yesterday, was a shocker. It took me a good 30 minutes to get over. Obviously, we both have Rodgers as the regular season MVP going into this season. Unknown what he's a free agent, unknown where he's going to be after this season. Garoppolo, 49ers, Robbie Gould go into Green Bay, Lambeau, snowy at the end of that game, and they take it. They steal that game, in my opinion, because no matter what was happening late, I thought Rodgers and something would happen, something would turn, and they just scrappiness and the ball turning their way went their way, which I was my jaw dropped at the end of that game. Even when that field goal went through, I was still shocked. It wasn't assumed that Robbie Gould was going to make that, but did you feel that way as well? Because that's how it was chilling with a few people here.
Yeah, I was kind of just watching that and I was like, damn, did that really happen? And like, of course, the media got to like go in and get their shining moment and follow Rodgers and zoom in on Rodgers, leaving the field. But I don't understand. I was trying to watch that game and like I didn't understand really what was going on. Like it was a low scoring game, which I didn't think it was going to be low scoring. AJ Dillon scored the only touchdown for the Packers. Like Devontae Adams did what he had to do, but the Packers couldn't make that big play. Like San Francisco, like they're that really, really annoying team in the playoffs right now. Like how they play football, they just run the ball and they make plays when you need to make them. Like if it's 3rd down and 5, like they'll get that 3rd down stop. They got a really pesky defense. Fred Warner, annoying out there that he made a big play.
I seen that tweet, with
with
taunting
the bell
a little bit.
Yeah, and then just Mason Crosby missing that field goal, even though it's only 3 points, that was huge. Like, I don't understand how that happens. And then the punt block for a touchdown, like that's a huge momentum shifter to tie the game. And you think,
even when that happened, I still didn't think they were gonna win.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like I was just like, all right, they got a touchdown, they're coming, but like I still was like, nah, that can't be enough.
Yeah, I saw a tweet and it kind of like made sense for a little bit. It was like, Packers played the whole season to get that number 1 seed. You want everyone to come through Lambeau, and for some reason, like the weather seemed to affect them more than it affected San Francisco. And they were dropping passes. Like I was just like, you could tell Rodgers was upset, was disappointed, and I don't know where he goes from here. I can't see him in another uniform, to be honest. But I don't understand how they all year they're just making these big plays, and then it just seems like for Rodgers, like he got that 1 Super Bowl and that's been it. And as a franchise, you're glad you get one, but when you're in Green Bay, that's not enough, unfortunately. So
yeah, sometimes it doesn't go your way, and that's just the nature of the beast. Because at the end, they're all football teams are professionals. They're all trying to win. So just because you were better in the regular, I'm starting to understand as I watch more games as I get older. Like just because you're the better team doesn't mean you deserve to win. They're going out with their 11 best, and you are too, and they're all trying to get paid. They're all trying to live up to a contract or get a bonus or on both sides. Just because you are the number 1 seed doesn't mean it. Probably percentage means you should win, but it doesn't mean you have the right to win. You know what I mean? And Jimmy G came in with on his throwing hand, like still recovering from that surgery. He was out
taking
for
it
weeks.
off like at the beginning.
He took it off right before he hit the field. Yeah. And Debo, playing fucking running back and being the MVP of that team, obviously, right?
Debo, yeah. Super gremlin. Shout out Debo, man. Like he really does everything you need a football player to do. There are a lot of things like, oh, you put him in the running back now, okay, so what? Like he's shown that he can run the ball and he got yards after the catch. And I mean, he's got that energy, he's got that dog in him. So anytime he makes a big play, anytime he makes a big play, like you can tell it affects both sides of the team. Like he just has that energy about him. And I mean, he's been balling. He's probably going to be top fantasy pick next year. But Jimmy G, man, he is not impressive. He is not like by any means a super talented quarterback, but he just kind of like does what needs to be done in football games. Like he runs the plays. Shanahan has a great scheme for him, and they just seem to somehow get it done. Like he's been there before. You know, this
Yeah.
isn't the first time he's done it. You know, he's been in Super Bowls. So it's funny because we said that the NFC West was the best division in football.
Yeah, it's proven.
You know, so now that's those two teams that are in the NFC Championship game. So it's gonna be fun championship weekend. I'm excited.
Yeah, it'll be interesting, like you mentioned, to see where Rodgers goes. Obviously, there's so many unknowns, not only because he is so unknown as a human being, as far as
Right.
what decision he could make. He could retire just as much as he could go to any other team in the league or just stay. So I feel like every decision, every option that he has is equal at this point. For me personally, there's no odds. There's no one thing he'll do more than the other because he's so unpredictable. Because he's so introspective and kind of is gonna beat to his own drum. He's gonna do what he wants. So, and then obviously the decision of Devontae Adams. He's a free agent, right? Too. So I don't know if one decision relies on the other. They might say the Packers will franchise tag him and give him money, but I don't know how that'll work out. Maybe, these days, just because you are a free agent or you'll get franchise tag doesn't mean you can't not show up to training camp and demand a trade. You never know with this shit. So,
yeah, 100%.
All right. So from those games, Bengals and Packers move on, and then to today's games, we got better. Just when you think yesterday's games were good, and you were like, all right, coming down obviously from UFC, which will end on going into today with the Bucks and Rams, we got exactly what we thought we would. A slobber knocker of a game.
In the second half, first half it was
better. Yeah,
first half it was looking ugly for a minute.
First half it was what 20-3 or 20-7.
Yeah, 20
okay, and then obviously I thought it. I thought it was over, not because I didn't believe Tampa could come back, but I thought all the Rams had to do was score 2 times, whether that was a field goal and a touchdown or 2 field goals, whatever. And then obviously the clock would just run out on them. I even congratulated Dom super early in the third. And then I was like, oh shit. Every time in the fourth, the game got more interesting. I was like, damn, I think I just might have jinxed them. But that game was pretty wild down the stretch.
Yeah, it was like two or three turnovers in a row. Like, I don't know how Tom Brady does this thing, like year in and year out, like his whole career, like
54 attempts. It's a lot. It's a lot of throws.
And he had 55 last week, right? He had a lot. They mentioned it before. They mentioned it before that final drive, but I mean, he's got Mike Evans. That's pretty much it, and Gronk.
He had 37 last week.
Oh, okay. I don't know why they said something else, but Tom Brady does crazy things, and it's never like super crazy plays either. It's always like little dinks and dunks, like
because he's not. It's not like he's scrambling and creating. Right at the end of the day, he's doing exactly what the play calls for. Meaning, if the play is for you to look left and the option's not there to dunk it off or to look right, that there is a creativity and there's a special thing for that too. You know what I mean? Just because you could scramble around like Kyler Murray for 30 seconds and then launch it downfield, there's also enough to say about Tom Brady that could stay in that pocket like Peyton Manning used to and just get it done that way.
Yeah, and he has no plans. Like, he doesn't know what he's going to do either. Like, he's just like playing it by ear. And Brady's a different kind of dude in his own right too. That game, man, it was. I don't know how the Rams got down the field that quick. To just like, we know football is a crazy sport and like playoffs and everything like that, but this year seemed to kind of just like have those plays like in every game, and it's never really like that. So I'm hyped, man. I'm so hyped.
Yeah, these games are gonna be good.
I've been betting on them, but still.
So shout out Dom. Obviously, he was in Tampa with Mike for that game. He had a couple of minions in front of him talking shit to him that he posted on social. So he got the last laugh. And then we obviously go into the last game of the Bills and Chiefs, obviously that we kind of touched on a little bit. Man, I really wanted the Bills to move on. I always like to. I'm kind of both ways with sports. Sometimes I like dynasties and I enjoy watching them, and then there's other times where I'm like I like the new up and coming. So like the new Chiefs 2.0 would be the Bills. You know what I mean? Like what the Chiefs did 2 years ago. I want the Bills to be, and then watch them out for the next 5 years. They're not in my conference, so I could care less what they beat each other up, whatever. So I enjoyed actually even more because it doesn't really affect my team in the NFC. But I wanted the Bills to win because I wanted, everybody loves the Bills Mafia crowd, the fans. That's always
Them
fun to
boys is
watch,
crazy.
hype. Yeah, they're
Would
super
you do that
passionate.
shit? Would you jump off a car and break a table?
Yeah, of course I would. Into my back in the day wrestling days, as a kid, me and my brother used to jump off our bunk beds and land on the floor. He actually broke his elbow that way when we were
Oh
like
shit!
8 or 9 years old. Yeah.
It's got to be a
So,
trash injury, broken
oh,
elbow.
it's so bad. Yeah. I was
That's
traumatized. I was like
terrible.
9. He was like 6. It was,
Ugh,
traumatizing.
it's trash.
But yeah, I just wanted to see not somebody new. I'm not like that. But I wanted to see another franchise come up and get what they deserve because they've been building the right way. They've been building the right way with the right, group of players and management. So they'll have another shot next year and they'll be back. So I'm not too worried about them.
They're gonna have to get that home field advantage, I think.
Yeah, right. That's their next step for sure. For sure.
Yeah, because you don't want to go into Kansas City or maybe Cincinnati or whatever the case may be to try and win a playoff game. You want people going up there to Buffalo and playing your style at your tempo and over there. So I think that's what they're
100%.
going to have to do to take that next leap.
Yeah, that's what you want because you don't ever, like you said about Green Bay, you want the number 1 seed. You play for the number 1 seed and you play for home field, no matter what. You can't, because you don't want to be in a position where you lose and you're like, damn, I wish we would have played at home. You want to be able to walk away like Green Bay and be like, we had the number 1 seed. We had everybody healthy. Everybody came back. It was snow. You have a team that Jimmy G's never played in a game. They put this stat up. Games that were played below 0 or in freezing, quote unquote. Rodgers had like 22 or 26 in between that, and Jimmy G had 0. So, like, you talk about home field advantage. You had the advantage, and at least it sucks that you walk away from it with an L, but at least you can walk away and say, we were set up to win. We did everything we did
we
right
had
before
everything
that.
in our favor to get this W.
And the better team won. Like I said, sometimes it doesn't make you feel better, doesn't make you go to sleep faster or whatever, but at least you want to make sure you're set up as much as possible as a football team or any sport you're in to put the best odds in your favor. So it just, wasn't their week, wasn't their day. So Bet the Fort went 3-1 this weekend. Shout out you,
3-1, baby. 3-1. You feel me?
You had everybody except the you had the Packers winning over the Niners.
game.
Yeah, which
Like,
was an upset.
Yeah, that's gonna piss me off because been riding high on the Packers all season, and they didn't even win a playoff game, bro. They should have just got the 2nd seed and played last week and try to do whatever. Like I'm upset. I can't even imagine how Aaron Rodgers is right now.
No, for sure. But shout out the Niners because they showed the stat. They've made the NFC Championship 5 times in the last 11 years, and that's a big fucking deal. Like, what other team outside of anybody on Tom Brady's team, has done that?
2 different head coaches.
And they've lost head coaches. With different quarterbacks. Like they had Kaepernick at one point. They had Jeff Garcia. Because I think obviously one of those was when the Giants played that. We played them. I think Jeff Garcia was their quarterback. I believe so, yeah. So think about it. They had, during that era, it wasn't like the same quarterback led them to 5.
Right.
They had 3 or 4 within that 5 to lead them, or 3 at least. which is
And
crazy,
like,
bro. So shout out to
yeah,
them as a franchise.
the crazy thing is too, like they're always that one team that has a lot of injuries. Like, but they lost their running backs the last 2 years, but then this year it was like their defensive backs, but somehow like they just seem to have all these other players come in and step up and play way better than they're supposed to. But they've had Jimmy G, who we already kind of talked about, and then Debo Samuel has really stepped up for them this year. And Kittle needs to be healthy at all costs,
Yeah.
because even though he had that big drop or whatnot, when he catches the football and he runs with it, it's it's the same thing with who was I saying? Same thing with Debo. Like, it affects that football team. They just, for whatever reason, they bring that different energy with them, and it's fun to watch. It's fun to watch, even though it's nothing ever crazy. But I don't know if the Niners can beat the Rams, though. They did. They did.
Now that
Last.
they got this far, anything I can't
Yeah,
say
man.
anything's impossible, because myself, my adult life, have watched my team do it, and every time they played the next team, I said, all right, this is it. If they lose here, I'm happy with it. And even up to the Super Bowl, Giants went to the Super Bowl. We were like, we don't have a fucking chance. There's no shot, right? They won it. 3 years later, or whatever it was, 4 years later, they win it again. I go, there's no way, right? I told everybody, there's 0% chance we do it again. Think about it. The probability of you doing it once, then the probability of you doing it against an all-time great at that point. And this was before another 3 times you won or whatever. So it was like, and they did it again. So I cannot say the Niners have no chance, because this shit fucking any given Sunday now. Now we're back on Sundays only, right? Any
Right.
given
Yeah. Yeah.
Sunday.
It's just
Never
Sunday.
know.
Yeah. Man. It's funny because when I was at the gym yesterday, I was looking at some playoff prop bets, and the Niners and Bengals was the least Super Bowl game, and now we could probably get that. Like, we could.
That's crazy. Yeah, back in Boomer Esiason days.
No,
Is
it
that what you're
was
talking about?
no, like betting odds.
Oh,
Betting
okay.
odds.
Because
That was the
the
least
Niners, the last
likely.
time the Bengals went to the Super Bowl was versus the Niners back in the
Oh, was
80s.
it?
Yeah, I know
I
that
didn't
because
even know that.
Boomer was the MVP that season. Random stat, I guess, that I know, or fact that I know. But Boomer was the MVP that season. That was when Joe Montana I think it was Joe Montana, not Steve Young. I could be wrong, either quarterback. But yeah, they lost that one. That was the last time the first and only time Bengals went to the Super Bowl. I'm going to look that up because I want to make sure I got that right. To anybody listening that's yelling at their headphones right now, Bengals Super Bowl. Yeah. Anything else on football before we move on to UFC 270?
No, nothing
Right.
I can think of. Just, it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun, and then we're gonna have that crazy hangover for like 8 months before the season starts again. But
Yeah,
I'm actually kind of
sure.
looking forward to the Pro Bowl this year. Hopefully, it's a little more competitive, and they need to bring back those competitions that they used to do, like the
They should,
longest
because the Pro
throw and
Bowl, yeah,
all that kind
the
of
Pro
stuff.
Bowl
So
game itself doesn't get enough viewers. So at the end of the day, how do you get more eyeballs on it? Is have it like a weekend, NBA All-Star weekend. They perfected it over the last 10, 20 years with the way they do it. NFL's
yeah,
got to catch up. Obviously, it's a whole different game, but I stand corrected. The Bengals have made the Super Bowl twice, once in 1981. It was against 49ers. So I think that's the year I'm referring to. Let me make sure. Yeah, they lost 26-21.
close
Let's
game.
see. Yeah, let's see who was in there because I'm interested. Who was the MVP? Oh, MVP Joe Montana. So I was right with that. I assume it was Boomer's team. Let me see. It doesn't say there, but all right. At least I was half right. But they did make it again so they made it in 81, which I didn't know they made it twice. Jesus. And they made it again in 88 of that year. Wow, they made it twice. Good for them. And they played this. They played the Niners in that one too.
Jesus.
That's crazy. All right,
That's
so
it, bro.
I wasn't
get.
wrong. It was just they did it twice. Yeah, MVP of that was Jerry Rice, 20-16. I think that was the Boomer year.
That's a close game too.
Yeah, because that makes more sense that it was in 88 for sure. Wow, so they made it twice. Both times they made it to Super Bowl was against the Niners. Yeah, Boomer. That was the year of Boomer. He won MVP of that year, and then they played. So wow, fucking Bengals make it to the Super Bowl, twice more than Miami Dolphins in the last 40 years, huh? That's a wild stat. All that shit talking. It's like
Jesus.
last 40 years, fucking
Hey.
Bengals made it more than fucking the Dolphins, the Jets, all them teams. All right, UFC 270. Let's get right into it before we wrap it up. We want to make this show, sweet and simple. We're in 35 minutes, but kind of wrap it up. By the way,
I saw the championship fights.
You only saw the championship fight.
Yeah.
Before we end, we do. I'll mention at the very end, but we do have an interview with Patrick of Billionaires Row, our official sponsor of the podcast. We're gonna put that. We're putting this out on Monday morning. We're gonna try to put that out. Maybe space it in between, maybe Wednesday or Thursday. Give people time to listen to this or other episodes, and then listen to that. But UFC 270. Jump right into the main event then. What were you vibing out by yourself, watching it, legally, illegally, whatever it was, and just, were you hyped for it before? Because I watched some hype videos and I got into it more than I was before I watched those, like kind of getting to know each guy, their story individually, how they were sparring partners, how they had the same coach. So talk to me.
Yeah, no, I was definitely hyped. Anytime it's a heavyweight championship, whether it's boxing or UFC, kind of just like you feel like if you're interested into like combat sports, like that whole world stops and everyone tunes in. And Joe Rogan was super hype about it. DC was super hype about it before, but man, like you get it's not even like it's just heavyweights. It's two super freaky athletic heavyweights. Like they're mutants, like both of them.
Thrillers.
Yeah, like Ngannou's muscles have muscles. That's how fucking jacked this dude is.
His back muscles.
Yeah, his shit is insane.
I was treating the fight in not even HD, and you can see that.
Yeah,
it's insane.
He's nuts. He's nuts,
Yeah.
and he's done some crazy things in the octagon. And then you got Cyril Gane, like he's done some crazy things in the octagon too. Both of these dudes are like 6'4", like 260 plus. And Ngannou is almost 280. And they're doing things that people that big shouldn't be able to do. And at first, the fight, Gane kind of was in control of that fight, like the first 2 rounds. And then you kind of see Ngannou's like experience and, championship mentality kind of take over. And as soon as he body slammed Gane and dropped him, I was like, yeah, this shit's a wrap. Like 280 on you, kind of just trying to rip your head off. That's what I told my brother. Like, that's not fun. And Ngannou never does that. Like, he's just always knocking people out. So the way that he was fighting, and you can see like Joe Rogan was like, Ngannou's doing jiu-jitsu and he's doing it good. Like he's doing it well. So
yeah, he's been in the lab for sure.
Yeah, he's definitely been in the lab. But Gane is freaky. He's definitely, I mean, that was his first L. He's got a bright future ahead of him, but the UFC has to do right by Francis Ngannou, because if they lose him, it's going to be bad. Like, you don't want to lose your heavyweight champ.
And what do you mean by, for people who don't know that are curious, what do you mean by lose? Because I know kind of the contract. He tweeted something. Yeah. What do you mean by that?
So they got to pretty much pay him, like just keep him under contract, do whatever, give that man his money, what he deserves. Because like we were just talking about, like that's the biggest fight, heavyweight championship. And just the fact that he's beat the fighters that he's supposed to, and now he beat the biggest up and comer. Like, you want that,
and they could have another fight.
Yeah,
I think another fight is in order. Yeah, whether it's right away or maybe one more fight just to, for formality purposes. But I think they should run it back immediately, because I don't think Ngannou dominated as you would think a heavyweight fight should go, which is great for the contender. or the interim champion. So run it back. Let's see it go again. But if they do run it back, he's going to want, it almost proves his point even more about pay me. Fuck you, pay me, as they say.
Absolutely. And I mean, nowadays you have Jake Paul that's making millions of dollars boxing. So who the fuck is going to tell Francis Ngannou that he can't box? I'm not.
Exactly.
I'm not telling him
That's
that.
what he said, right? Did he did he threaten like, oh, I could just go to boxing, some shit? I heard,
that's what they asked him after. He's like, well, what are you going to do now? So he can definitely box. Like he can go fight what's his name? The Bronx Bomber.
Wilder.
He can go fight Wilder.
That would be
exactly.
Shit.
And
if Wilder has another big fight in him, because you can't fight Fury anymore because that's over. But if Wilder has one more big prize fight, because it doesn't exist right now and it probably won't, that would be the next prize fight. That would be it. Wilder, Ngannou, put it. I'm paying $100
and people will pay for it. Exactly. People will pay for it, and he'll make more money in that one fight than he made in his whole UFC
probably
career.
In his whole career. Yep.
And that's a shame. That's a fucking shame. Shame. You shouldn't be able to say that about not just your heavyweight champ, but any of your champs in your division. So
absolutely.
UFC, I'm glad we're on that topic. I know we're trying to keep this short, but they just launched their own NFT platform. Nice. Sorry, their own NFTs, UFC Strike, and the fighters are going to get half of whatever they sell for. So, if you like UFC, if you support UFC, just Google search UFC NFTs, and you can buy some. I think you can buy them with the debit card, credit card. You don't need any kind of cryptocurrency. And Gane was plugging it the other day before the fight. So they just launched this week. So there's some good moments out there that you can kind of scoop up for 15, 20, 30 bucks.
Yeah, shout out The Rock for signing the footwear of official Project Rock. Signed a footwear deal with UFC where they're also signed with Venom. They were previously with Reebok. So now they
remember. Yeah, Venom. Yeah. The Venom shirts are fire.
They're dope. Dope logo. I mean, I like
especially
that.
On the women.
Yeah, I hope that UFC doesn't go the whole. I'm a big Nike dude, but I hope UFC doesn't go that typical brand stuff. They link up with brands that are trying to be entrepreneur coming up versus going to the typical Nikes and Adidas and all that, which I love that. Obviously, Rock is not struggling with his business, but it shows that it's up and coming though. It's not a billionaire. It's not $1 billion company. It's something that is right now in the beginning stages, and what he's doing, anything The Rock does, I support. Terramana. I just drank the other day for the second time ever, and
good stuff.
Great. Didn't have a hangover. Drank it straight down the bottle in a night, and it was good. Me and Bree have. So anything The Rock touches or does, obviously he's got Black Adam that's coming out. I think it's going to be on Netflix or something like that, or maybe it's on Disney. It's a DC movie, so it'd be on Netflix, I think. He's moving. So shout out The Rock for getting that deal done, because that's. He's got the XFL coming up. This dude, how does he sleep?
He's the new Shaq.
Bro, I slept till I needed sleep this weekend because of the long week I had, waking up at 5:36 every other day this week, doing whatever, going to bed late. But I slept in today for sure, 11 o'clock. No shame in that. And I'm like, bro, I still need that one day where I need to sleep in. How the fuck does he do it? I don't understand how many hours a day in his day does he have that we're not getting. Vitamins. Yeah.
He's got the limitless pill.
For real. And just to wrap up the UFC, Moreno, love his story of the first Mexican champion, gets defeated that was number 3 of their bouts, right?
Yeah, the third one.
Trilogy. That was great. That wasn't as exciting as I thought it would be. It had some moment. It had
until
more.
The last 2 minutes, they just started duking it out. Yeah, they just
I go back right now, and I'm gonna go back and eventually it's on ESPN Plus.
That's how close that fight was. They both knew it. That fight was close, and man, that's the thing with the UFC. yeah, you got your coaches, yeah, you got like sparring partners and whatnot, but at the end of the day, like for that championship belt, it's just you versus that person right in front of you who's trying to knock you out just like you are. So that's what's so hype about it. And like it's fun. It's a fun sport. Those dudes were even bro, even though they're like 5'4" or whatnot, like I want no problems with either of them
Bro,
boys.
5'5" and 5'7", 125.
Yeah,
I'm like, that's basically like Breeze size, like height and
yeah.
weight. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, but I mean, they hit hard. Like they were
Yeah.
hitting each other hard. Like Moreno's left hook is money, but I'm glad
Shit, that
that
could be a four. There could be a fourth one
yeah,
coming in maybe a year or so
yeah,
because that wasn't a dominant by either one. So that
either
could be
no.
another one that
That
we
was
see
super
again.
close. Yeah, Davison, man, he figured it out and I feel like they gave it, they kind of it's tough, it's tough, but I don't want to say that they gave it to him to give it to him, but those two dudes are at the top of their class and they want that fourth fight. I mean, who else is he going to fight? I don't really know too much about it, but you want those
Yeah,
two
the
dudes fighting. Yeah, I think it's bantamweight, right?
flyweight.
Flyweight,
But like I
Jesus.
said, flyweight, bantamweight is let me see the weight in that. It doesn't say because there was another fight which was the oh my god, Joe Rogan. You didn't watch any of the pre fights.
No, no, I was at the gym.
Joe Rogan tried to say Nurmagomedov,
Oh,
and he fucked
yeah.
it up, dude. He
Oh,
fucked it up when
dude, that
he
one,
said it,
bro.
bro. He fucked up before you get into that. He said the name real quick and he fucked it up. He was like Namedov. And I was like, bro, Joe Rogan got to put the edibles down, dog.
Yo.
He said that name. He said the name like we would say it if we were just saying it right. And I'm like, bro, this is your job, bro. But go
Nurmagomedov
ahead
or
on that
some
fight.
shit.
Yeah,
Dude,
go ahead on
no,
that
man.
fight.
Like, I saw a tweet like right before it that said first round knockout is plus 700 is the best bet of the event. I was like, whatever, I didn't take it. And I was eating something before the fight was starting. And I was like, all right, let me go put the food, let me go put the plate in the sink, whatnot. I'll be good. I came back, shit
It
was a
was
wrap.
over.
Shit was a wrap. It was
Yeah.
like 30, 45 seconds.
Those
And I'm like,
Russian
yo,
boys are taking
I'm
over
like,
the
yo, what
game.
the hell just happened, bro? That shit was
Yeah,
crazy. It
man.
was like a back like choke, like that shit was deep. I was like, man, I don't want to fight any of them boys coming out of Khabib's camp.
Nope.
Good.
I'm good. Save that. The last thing I have about UFC was I'd never seen the guy Pereira fight before. And my boy,
Oh,
my neighbor Kelsey was over and he was like, oh, this guy, he does some like
he does
backflips
wild
and shit
shit.
during
Yeah.
a fight. And I'm like, this man doesn't do a backflip in a fight,
Yeah, he
right? And they
did.
showed him before the fight doing backflips, but in like warming up in his dressing room, I was like, all right, I get he could do a backflip. This motherfucker was like
Yeah.
a spider monkey, bro.
Yeah. Jumping
Using
off
the
the cages.
cage,
And yeah.
doing flips, doing all these summers. I was like, oh, he actually fights like this. He's a
Mm-hmm.
nut.
Yeah. He
I
is a
need to go back
nut.
in the lab and watch a bunch of his fights because that is the
Yeah,
most
bro.
ludicrous thing I've ever seen in a fight. Like him
Yeah.
just jumping
Could you
around, running
imagine,
around.
like, you're in a
Nope.
fight, fighting somebody, and the dude that you're fighting just does a somersault or a backflip or some shit? Like, bro,
Bro,
I'm
no,
leaving. I'm walking
I'm
away. I'm like, all
good.
right, bro, you won. You won. Like, it's cool.
You
Like,
over here doing a backflip, trying to drop kick me like we're in WWE. Like,
yeah,
nah, bro.
nah,
I
bro.
don't do that. No, thank you.
Yeah,
That
I'm
was wild.
straight.
So that was the last point I had on UFC because once I seen that, I was like, "Ooh, we're gonna have a night." Because that was like the fourth to last fight or the third. That was before the co-main event, as they. Or no, that was that was right before the Moreno fight. That got me hyped because I was a little like bored at that point. Obviously, like you said, the other Russian dude beat him in 47 seconds. So then it was like a little standoffish. The other fight ended in one round. The other was one. Wow, there's a lot of one round fights. Like I think 6 out of 8 of before the main event were. So it's kind of boring at that point in a way. But shout out for David.
I've
Went
been
3
I've
and
been
3.
I've been picking better than him on the main cards and the
Hey,
main events lately.
hey,
I've had his
this was
number.
the first time we posted his picks and then followed up by what he went through. So I'll give him a break because there's other times where he went like 5-1, 4-2, and stuff like that. So I'll give him a break personally because I don't have the the
I
story.
try to tell him, bro.
I'm saving it now, though.
Ngannou,
I'm gonna save it now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna save his own highlight on our page. I'll do that now. So, let's see. Fort David
UFC picks.
Yeah. I can't do picks.
Yeah, we got a good good few fights coming up. Jerry Prochazka, however you say his last name, is fighting Glover Teixeira. I think that's light heavyweight. Tai Tuivasa is fighting Derek Lewis coming soon. That's going to be a hell of a fight. I'm excited. I want to see McGregor get back in there. So
yeah,
we got some good stuff. We got some good stuff for the UFC.
Absolutely. So a couple shout outs before we wrap up. Random, but shout out. I've been noticing. I know we put it up on social media that we get some views from random like Costa Rica, Canada, now Russia. And I thought the Russia thing was like a 1 view thing or a 2 view thing. They got like 4 views. I don't know. It's probably the same person. So the fact that
could be, bro.
Yeah, shout out Russia. Whoever you're if you follow us on any social media and you listen to us, yeah, imagine, right? Now you just gave me an idea for a post, but if you're listening right now and you're from Russia, is that same person that's listening to us, we appreciate you. DM us, find us on anything, and let us know who you 100%. Are, because that's I'm very curious to know who you are. I'm gonna have to mention it again next episode in the beginning, just so that person, maybe gets. They skip this part of the episode, so I'll mention it again in the beginning. And then shout out to Charlie for getting that new deal.
Hey, yeah,
Oakland, baby. Talk about that. That's family right there for you.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. I mean, he's hype about it. He's been training. They're both excited. Him and Gabby. I'm excited for them to step up. I mean, I know it's not like no major team, but it's
new team. You got to prove yourself all over again. Doesn't matter. You know what I mean?
League up, and I mean, we've shared some of his stuff on our story. I've shared some of his stuff on my story, and I mean, kid does some crazy stuff on the soccer pitch with his goals.
Get that pitch.
See me? You see me?
I see you. Dog.
I'm out here. So yeah, great free kicks, penalty kicks, like
lefty
to
boot.
be the dude to take those free kicks and those penalty kicks. You can't just be anybody on the squad. You got to be someone that knows what they're doing and whatnot. So I'm hyped for them. I didn't go visit them in Arizona just because my former employment, but I already told Gabby if they're not that crazy about the COVID stuff and they're not trying to pat me down and check me down and make sure I got 17 different ID
put some
cards
things in you.
Yeah, to make sure that I'm good. I'll definitely go out there and not just go to his games, but just go to California, Bay Area, Oakland, whatnot. So they're in a good spot.
And if not, just jump on the pod, vibe with us, enter the lab. You know what I mean?
We're gonna get that done for sure.
We're gonna have to book them for February. We're trying to get at least a guest a month. I already booked. And I'll talk to you on the side. I already booked somebody for April around a certain event just to have that person on and talk about what we talk about normally, but also talk about something that's going on in April. So we got 2 openings. We're trying to do at least 1 guest a month just to, either change it up or like have different vibes. But, we have Patrick of Billionaires Row. We recorded it this past week. We're going to drop it during the week, so look out for that during we'll just kind of post it. That was a great interview,
man. That was a great interview.
Great interview. And we attacked it from all fronts, whether it was life, entrepreneur, what kind of relating.
Gems on there.
All 3 of us never talked. I mean, he locked on. I know him personally for a few years, but that was the first time we really I got to have a full conversation. Obviously, sometimes we're talking and there's a lot going on, whether we're at a party or something. That's kind of where we link up, where we see each other through his wife. But that was the first time I really sat down and talked to him when it was in this setting. So we really got to know kind of who he is as a person, got to know what he's doing with Billionaires Row. And obviously, Fort asked the big question, and we won't reveal the answer, but we asked two. I asked one was how was the numbers of Billionaires Row since becoming the official sponsor of the pod, and then for held no punches. He was like, "Hey man, when are we flipping that to the official sponsor of the pod?" And he gave us an answer. We won't give it away. You'll have to tune into that interview and see what he answers. And I was very excited about what his response, by the way.
Yeah, I was too. Definitely. So
big things.
I mean, big things coming. We're working in the background, just trying to get better things for you, better content. Just trying to
Having
figure
some
it
fun
out,
with it, man.
Week by week. So I'm excited, man. Baseball got to figure out the lockout because it's about that time for baseball season. So
speaking of that, I got somebody on the side too, and we'll talk off the record. We were trying to get him on for utility players. We never linked up. He had other obligations, personal going on. But maybe we'll do like a baseball preview, chop it up here. Hey, if you're not into sports and you listen to us for other things or vice versa, we're trying to put out at least 1 to 2 episodes per 7 to 10 days. So at least you get something.
This was like the biggest main sport episode we've done.
For sure.
Everything else is not.
And we were due
good.
for it because there's a lot of people that do listen to us, probably more than the other that listen to us for sports. And then we could talk about it in group chat. So I did feel happy about getting a pure sports episode in there mixed with our life episodes, because I do enjoy the business talk and the life stuff that we go back and forth, because it's I feel like everybody in group chats, like I try to think what in a podcast, what do you want to talk about? It's like, it's easy. Just what do you talk about in a group chat, in an Instagram group, in a Snapchat group, whatever conversations you guys throw back and forth, memes wise or debates or arguments. That's what we want to talk about here,
Yep. Miami Heat, second place in the Eastern Conference Finals. Haven't been healthy all year. Just getting Bam back. Bitch. What's up?
Yeah.
Heat Nation. Culture shit.
After today, live on Sunday, January 23rd, they are officially first in the East. Ooh! We are, because the Nets lost, and you can see it behind me over here. They lost by 11. Irving had 30 points. We didn't play well tonight, so we deserve to lose, but we're a half game back. We play Miami Heat, and the Brooklyn Nets play each other. Let me get that. They play each other in February. Yep. February 12th, Saturday, they play each other. Maybe I'll get tickets. I'm not sure, because tickets are expensive now that the Brooklyn Nets are a legit team like that, and it's hard to, get anything less than $150 for upper deck, which is ridiculous. I'd rather watch at home with a fucking 2 TVs or in the living room. You know what I mean?
Pay $26 for an alcoholic beverage,
bruh. It's expensive. The drive down there is expensive by itself, whether it's gas or toll, whatever it is.
Parking.
It's fucking parking, and then you got you're paying. You get a beverage, a couple beverages, and a meal. That's $100 if you go by 2 people. 50 and 50. So
at least
I'd rather watch it at home.
Facts.
But anyway,
yep.
That's it on my end. Anything for you?
Nah, I can't really think of anything. Just big changes coming, trying to figure things out. So we'll see what happens in the next few weeks. I'm hype. I'm excited. It's going to be, a little bit of challenge, but it's been done before, so we can do it again.
I like
Figure it out. Yeah, absolutely. Just keep striving one day at a time.
Sounds good. So we kept this under an hour, which was a little longer than we thought, but I love that it's just the both of us now at this point where there's no time limit. Hey, we could do 2 hours if we want, because it's just 50-50 at this point. We could vibe out as long as we want, so we don't sell ourselves short on the quality part. But episode 5, Enter the Lab, your boy Fort Sama, Elvis Escobar. Tune in this week for the interview with Pat of Billionaires Row, and definitely leave us a review, a comment, like us on or follow us on Instagram and Twitter. Also, YouTube channel, subscribe to get kind of the alerts when we upload the videos. Absolutely. So tune in for that. Sunday it is. This will drop on Monday. Have a good night. Peace.